welcome along to the Invincible podcast. Jeez, you just leave me hanging like that.
Well, sorry about that. Like,
What the hell? Brought to you today.
Well, I'm not happy with Arsenal's form. I'm not happy with this new game we're playing.
We're gonna get into that. Brought to you today by Who Knows Wins. The reason he's not happy with the new game is because I beat him last week.
Well, we haven't got no proof of that because I wasn't allowed to go into it.
No, because you didn't register properly.
Well,
right, but I hope you've registered properly into it this week.
That's right.
Right.
Trying to.
They're sorting you out, yeah?
So they say.
Because everybody out there, you can go head-to-head with us in this competition. First of all, congratulations going out to Joe Kenner. He won £3,000 last week. Remember, there's a share of a pot of $5,000. He won $3,000.
Just after Christmas, wow,
how good was that?
If you ever want to come down for a drink, we're more than willing to go. Bottle of bubbly, what do you reckon?
I won... Well, I got my £5 back that I put in and 25p on top. But it's more than what you won.
Well, that's because, exactly,
Right, so,
Booby prize that was, I've heard.
I tell you, it's a good competition. The link is in the description. Click onto it. Download the app right now. Deposit £5, right? Gamble aware, all that, be responsible with this. But deposit a £5 and then you got your picks here. I'm going to go through mine right now.
Good game though, isn't it?
It is a good game.
I really enjoyed it.
It is a good game. Yeah. You know what the thing is though? You know the thing about it, right, Lee? When I was doing it last week, I was like, it's easy. It's obvious that Man City are going to beat Southampton.
Yeah.
It's obvious.
I wonder
don't go that way, does it?
Joe, I'd like to know if Joe's in the comments or whatever, what he actually put for that game.
Yeah, what did Joe Kenner put
for that game?
For Man City versus Southampton, because I swear that is the biggest coupon buster out there. I was thinking that's going to be about 4 or 5-0. And
he predicted a draw for that, fair play to him.
Jeez, I'll tell you what. But let me run through mine. I'm going to run through mine for this week. Right, so Barnsley versus Bournemouth. I'm going Barnsley for a win. Remember, you only got to go win, draw, win. Bolton versus Sunderland. I'm going Sunderland. Celtic versus Dundee. Got to be Celtic. Fulham versus Blackpool. Look at Fulham. They've won their last 4 games. Got to go for Fulham. They even give you a breakdown like that.
Yeah, it's good how they're doing. They tell you what their last games are like. 6 games, so you've won. Yeah. And also, what's good on it, it tells you the percentage that they think you're going to win at. Yes. So if you look at Celtic,
why did you flop so badly then? They give you all that information.
I didn't notice that last week. It's only this week. I've started to study it now. I'm not getting beaten more than once. Yeah, but it tells you if you have a look at it, it says like Celtic, they're 97% chance of winning that game.
All right.
So it's good stuff.
Yeah. Well, Hearts are 90% chance of beating Motherwell, so I'm going with the Hearts.
Yeah.
Hull, I'm going to go with Hull. They've got a 51% chance. Millwall versus West Brom. Now, they've only got an 8% chance of winning it.
What, at home?
Yeah, but they've lost their last 3 games at home. Well, out of their last 5 games, they've lost 4 of them.
Oh.
Right? But I've got a hunch for Millwall, man, so I'm going Millwall. That's going to be like I'm doing like Joe Kenner.
That's because you're scared of Millwall fans. The only reason you're doing that
as well. Yeah. I'll go for a draw. Preston versus Bristol City. Sheffield Wednesday versus Ipswich. Going Sheffield Wednesday. And Peterborough versus Sheffield United. I'm going for Sheffield United. Right. So let me just put my entry in. There you go. That's how you do it. Straight in.
Well done.
Congratulations.
You're in.
Right,
well, I haven't got that yet.
Yeah. Right. That's how easy it is to do. So get involved right now. You can go head to head against me and Lee. I know he's light work, but I'll be a bit tougher. Right. 1-0 to me as well, by the way.
Well, yeah. Allegedly. We haven't got no confirmation on that whatsoever.
I need to win some cash, man. As I said, anything I win, I'm going to do. I won't be putting the 25p yet to any charity. I don't want to take the mick. But anything I win, charity's getting it, right? So big up. Who knows wins? The link's in the description. Talking of wins, ours should be who knows draws.
Oh.
Because last week against Burnley, I couldn't believe what I was watching.
Well, awful game.
January has been a really bad month for Arsenal. Really bad month. No wins in the month. Only scored 1 goal. We got more red cards in January than goals.
Goals and points.
No new signings yet. It's been a thoroughly... They always say January can be a bit depressing after all the celebrations of Christmas, and you come out of it and you're skint, and and it's cold and it's... But this really has been a horrible month for Arsenal Football Club. We are in no competitions. I think that's the first time since, I don't know, 2006 or something, we're out of, even earlier than that we're out of all competitions. All we've got to fight for is the league. That's it. And even in that, we go and draw 0-0 at home to Burnley. And what was painfully obvious in that game was how toothless we were, in trying to score a goal. It was quite easy for Burnley. We had a couple of chances that we should have took, but it was quite easy for Burnley defending against us.
Yeah, it was an awful game. I have to say this, and I'll say it now on here as well. Like, every time I've got excited about Arsenal, along comes a result against Everton. Excited after the Manchester City game. Like, Manchester City game, by the way, I know we lost that game, but you thought, wow, some of the football there was fantastic. Our next game, Nottingham Forest, looking forward to that. Let down again. Go to Liverpool, defend like Trojans in that against 10 men, and you come away proud of being an Arsenal fan. Go to the next game, let down by a poor performance. And
that's Arsenal, isn't it? We're bipolar.
Yeah. And people say, like, people turn around you and say, "Oh, you flip flop and all that." Like, well, the team flip flops. You know what I mean? The team should be sponsored by Havanas, let alone anything else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, because they just don't. You get all up for it and think, right, I can buy into this, and then there comes the poor performance. And the Burnley game, well, it was just tells you everything you need to know. You've got a manager that didn't really change it up. I look at that and didn't do anything different. And you can turn around and say to yourself and defend him and go, well, he didn't really have anybody, did he, to change it? He's not going to have anybody to change it because he's decided that whatever's going on with the transfer window, we ain't bringing in no players. So we ain't going to be able to change anything.
Well, I think he had players to change it as well, because when I was watching that game, you can see there were some players in there that were flat. Kieran Tierney, me and you were sat together watching the game, and we could both see that Kieran Tierney weren't on it that day. He was below
awful,
par, right? He could have brought on Nuno Tavares, injected a bit of pace into it. You know, he could have took risks because, come on, let's have it right. Burnley weren't attacking, were they?
No.
It was just a low block, try and break us down and we'll see if we can get you on the counter. It was obvious what they were going to do. We didn't even need 4 defenders.
No.
Right? So you could have thrown on Nuno Tavares and said, yo, Nuno, run at them, terrorise them, try and do something, right? He didn't do that. I think on the right-hand side, right, Ben White was playing as a right-back. As a right-back. As an old-fashioned right-back, he'd probably be all right.
All right, yeah.
But as a right wing-back, which is what we needed that day, he didn't get forward once. He never overlapped once with Bukayo Saka, right? So it was very predictable, very easy to deal with. I felt he could have took off Rob Holding, moved Ben White back into into centre of defence, and brought on Callum Chambers and said to Chambers, get in there, whip some crosses in, beat the next, because that was the only right back option we had. But he didn't do any of that. We only made one sub.
Yeah, it was just...
And it was so predictable. It was so easy for Burnley to deal with. And then the other thing that was very... he made 2 subs because he brought on Eddie and Nketiah as well, didn't he? Or was it 1 sub? I can't even remember.
We brought on Eddie.
But what was so...
He did bring Tavares on towards the end, didn't he?
No, Tavares didn't come on. I think it was Eddie was the only sub, actually.
I was deep in 6 beers by then. I gone.
And what was so glaringly, obvious, what we could all see there is that we lack goal scorers. We lack strikers, right? The only goal threat in the game, you could see, was probably Martinelli and Saka. They dealt with that. Lacazette had a chance. He missed it. Should have scored. Lacazette, love him as a striker, great forward player, but he's not clinical.
No.
Right? And it's so obvious that Arsenal need a striker. Now, we've been trying to get Dusan Vlahovic since the transfer window opened. Unless you say that Arsenal, you having a go at him for not getting a striker in. You got to give them credit for the fact that they were chasing this guy. They were after this guy. It's a lot of money.
Been played.
Yeah, but they were stomped up the money for this guy. They wanted him, right? At the end of the day, it's the player's choice that he's decided to go to Juventus. Arsenal can't do nothing about that,
they can't do nothing about that. No.
But where I'm going to look on it now and say, well, if we can't get a striker in, the Aubameyang situation. Now, we spoke a bit about it last week. Something has to give on this now. If we're not going to get a striker in, which is going to be very difficult now, between now and the end of the transfer window, because some of the strikers that have been spoken about, like Alexander Isak of Real Sociedad, very difficult to get that done. He's got a release clause of £75 million, plus Sociedad don't want to let him go. Osimhen at Napoli, Napoli may let him go, but you're talking 60 million again. It's either going to be very, very expensive, which then it starts to look like a bit of a panic buy, or the other option is maybe they have to go and sit down, Mikel Arteta, with Aubameyang and just say to him, listen, let's bury the hatchet on whatever's happened and just get back into maybe scoring goals. But Aubameyang's been frozen completely out.
Yeah,
he hasn't even gone on the trip to Dubai, has he?
Nah. Well, one of the reasons maybe that he ain't gone on Dubai because he keeps going out to the nightclubs after. So maybe they've actually said to him, like, you ain't going, But no, listen, they've frozen him out. Did Burnley want to sell Chris Wood? Did they want him to go? No. Why? They didn't have no choice. So
yeah, that's different. There's a release clause.
Yeah, so there's a release clause for that.
Isak.
Yeah.
But it's a 75. Is he worth that?
I know. Well,
is he worth that? I don't want us to panic buy either, though.
Is Ben White worth 50 million?
No.
But you have to get players. You have to pay over the odds, and that's what you have to do. Listen, I got no problem with him going for Vlahovic, and it didn't work. For whatever reason they sold. There must have been some sort of indication, otherwise I wouldn't have gone for him. But ultimately, Juventus have come in, and that's the end of that. So you've got to be looking at it, though, Robbie. Like this is what I'm worried about with Arsenal at this moment in time. You've got to have plans for your forwards, and we've got two forwards in their last 6 months of their contract now, so they're not going to be here next season. That's let alone with Aubameyang. So it's 3 strikers short. We can actually, if the season starts now, say if it's the summer one, we've got to go and get 3 strikers because 3 strikers ain't going to be here. It's a lot of. I don't know how Stan's feeling about that, but I'm telling you, like, that's expensive. And then you've got to get three strikers in that basically are not guaranteed. What, 2 of them not going to be guaranteed playing? So if they can't get one in now, and when they turn around and say it's very difficult now, it's going to be very, very difficult in the summer.
Yeah. But for me now, it's about what they're getting. You've got to get quality in. Funny enough, right?
They ain't going to get no one.
Who's been one of our best ever January signings of all time?
Well, that's a good one. Aubameyang's got to be up there.
Aubameyang. He's probably been the best one. He came in January, hit the ground running, scored loads and loads of goals. The next season, he was the Golden Boot winner. I don't know. For me, let's going back onto this Aubameyang situation. And you did make the point last week that, hold on, he wasn't scoring loads of goals anyway. That is true, right? But players can rediscover their form, yeah? I'm looking at it right now. Right? We've got this player sat there. No, you're not allowed to come to Dubai. You've been frozen out of the team. I kind of would like... I'm only a mere mortal, a humble fan of Arsenal Football Club. But I would really like to kind of know a bit more of why this is. Because if it's because he's been turning up late, the punishment doesn't seem to fit the crime. The way he's been treated, I don't like it. The guy has done a lot in his time when he was at Arsenal Football Club. Yes, punish. But is this... I don't know. It seems... I mean, Martial the other day, we were told that he refused. The United... Ralph Rangnick came out and said he refused to play for Man United.
Yeah.
I know he's gone to Sevilla now, but they did bury the hatchet. They did sort it out. Both of them came out and said, listen, all right, we sorted it out, no issue. Right? We've had players at Arsenal like Granit Xhaka. We all know we haven't got to go through it, but what happened between him and the fans? This season, he's let the team down on several occasions. Sent off at City, sent off at Liverpool, giving a penalty away, stupid penalty at City. He's let us down numerous times over the years, but he's been forgiven. But then there's certain other players that just get no forgiveness. Guendouzi wasn't forgiven.
No.
You know? See you later.
There's a lot of it. A lot of it.
I kind of want a bit more. I kind of like to know a bit more about this Aubameyang situation because he seems to be getting treated really harshly. It seems like there's absolutely no way back. And if there's absolutely no way back, it can't be just because you turned up late.
No.
It's got to be something else.
There's got to be more to it. And as a fans, when you're turning around as a manager or a coach and saying, I can't get no one in, can't get no one better than what we've got, and at the end of the day, you're being asked to spend a lot of money going through the turnstiles to watch crap like that against Burnley, also not scoring goals against them, and you've got your star striker not in the squad. You're entitled, I think, as a fan, to know exactly what's
I'd like to know a bit more. And did you see, I don't know if you saw what Adi Boyle said the other day. There was, listen, not that he's going to be saying nice things about Arsenal, but he goes, listen, it's typical Arsenal, they do it all the time. It's not good, our reputation that's going out there, you know, regarding these things. Like, I'm just looking on it, and again, a friend of mine the other day was saying to me, Robbie, the Mesut Ozil situation. Whatever we thought of Ozil, Arsenal, they bombed the guy out, right? And they're doing it again now with Aubameyang. And I don't know, man. It's
well, this is what happens when you get a manager in that's not probably experienced enough to deal with these sort of things. And that's not a criticism of the manager. You know, it's a difficult sort of time. But ultimately, with Ozil, they done that. You know, I don't think Mesut Ozil deserved to be playing, but I mean, he didn't deserve the treatment that he got.
He had no. This is the same thing again, like they're doing now. What my friend was saying to me the other day is, goes, the correlation, the same thing on both of these. They're both on massive wages. They're both guys that they gave big contracts to and then probably turned around afterwards and they're regretting it. And now what they've decided to do, was they did with Ozil and they're doing now with Aubameyang, make life as uncomfortable as it possibly can for him so that he leaves. It's not a very nice situation. It may work and he may leave, but what does that say to players who may want to come to us?
Well, it's all right.
In the future, if you're a player, because players talk.
Well, of course they do. You ain't going to want to
Players
come
might
there,
be like, yeah, I ain't coming to Arsenal, man. You know what I mean? Look how they treated these guys. You know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. And then, you know the other thing, Lee, let's say Aubameyang go, because apparently he doesn't want to go to Saudi Arabia. So, he'll probably end up at another European team. Yeah? Suppose he goes to an AC Milan or somebody like that and starts banging in the goals. How bad is that going to look on Arsenal and Mikel Arteta as well?
Well, listen, Mikel Arteta, I don't care. Like, let's get this right. I don't really know why everybody keeps giving him so much sort of leniency, like excuses and all that. If at the end of the day, come the 31st of January, he has not replaced Aubameyang or any of the you know, and he can't find an upgrade on Mikel and Lacazette, and he doesn't get top four, he should be under immense pressure. And I think, you know, I can't see me forgiving him if that's the case, because you know, I've wanted to back him, I've wanted him to do that, but these things keep coming out. He has turned around and said he's finding it very, very hard to find anybody better than what we've got. Well, then I suggest that if it's not the players, who is it? What is wrong with Arsenal? Because we cannot consistently get wins. With the way you're managing the club, the way you're going about it, upsetting players along the line. Listen, you're going to upset players along the line. I don't care what anybody says. The art of being a good manager is not keeping the 11 players happy that are playing. They're always going to be happy. It's keeping the 10
squad players
that are not playing happy, and you cannot keep just tossing them to the side, like, you know, and just saying, right, well, that's that. At this moment in time, we are going into a top four battle along with Manchester United, Tottenham, West Ham and Wolves, with our front two attacking options of Lacazette and Eddie. And you think that's all right to go on and win the top four? Now, when I look at Man United the other day, when I look at Man United the other day, 20 minutes to go from the end, I see him chucking on Carvalho and Rashford. They get the result. Cavani, sorry. I then watch us against Burnley, we're chucking on Eddie. If you're going to compete with these teams, be serious about it. And that's, I mean, to all Arsenal fans, I'm now resigned that we ain't getting to top 4 because the club have not got the ambition.
It's quite significant that in that game they're playing West Ham, another rival for the top 4. And like you said, look at the difference. They're so reliant upon Mikel Antonio.
Yeah, West Ham didn't bring
They've
that
got
on.
nothing else to bring on. And like you said, the options at Manchester United, Rashford, Greenwood, even last week Martial was still there.
The new young lad.
Ronaldo.
Got the new young lad that scored.
Yeah. Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes. These are all goal scorers. Cavani. Yeah. And like you said, ours is Eddie. And that's what it might boil down to. And we won't get the top 4 with that.
You've got to say,
let's be real.
You've got to say that's real, and you've got to say that is now down to the manager because he's allowed that to happen.
Got to get a striker in.
Of all the times that he's been at since Mikel's been at Arsenal, there's not one attacking player that is not one of his players. If you go through it, Martinelli was signed before him. Aubameyang and Lacazette were Arsene Wenger signings. Pepe was Emery. So there's no one. Eddie was already there. So no one, from an attacking point of view, has Mikel got into this side.
Another player that's been frozen out, you just mentioned him there, he's been having a great African Cup of Nations, even though Ivory Coast have now been knocked out, but Nicolas Pepe has probably been Ivory Coast's best player.
He's probably one of the best finishers in the game. So for me, put him down the middle in the Lacazette role.
Why is he not being getting? But he's hardly got any game time.
It's going to come down to that, Robbie. He's going to come down to it.
He's hardly got any game time this season.
He's going to come down to it now that he's going to have to rely on either Martinelli or Pepe to get us to top 4. Them two, they're the two guys. Because I can tell you this now. I like Lacazette. He ain't going to get you to shoot you to top 4.
Lacazette's like a second striker.
Yeah, because he's been here 4 years and not done it now. So what's he going to do it for now? Eddie,
he's never scored 20 goals in the season.
The only time he'll get in top 4 is if he's in League One or the Championship. That's the only time he's ever going to get to top 4. And that's not being horrible. That's the standard.
How many? You know what? Let me see the goal scoring this season. I haven't even got it right in front of me right now, but continue talking.
Yeah. So
right.
Like you have to turn around and say that whatever way you look at it, from the manager to the recruitment, they've completely and utterly got this wrong going into this window. Now, one of the things that they've turned around and said, and I don't know, you're not going to fall out with Aubameyang. You didn't know he was going to fall out of Aubameyang in the summer. I get that. But ultimately, when you was in the summer, you're talking to Lacazette, you're talking to Eddie, they may not be here. So realistically, should you be looking to do the striker last summer instead of going through this summer and getting him? I don't know what's going to happen now. And the chances are now, because of poor recruitment of a forward over the last sort of 2 transfer windows, let's say, it's going to cost us a chance at top 4. Because ultimately, Robbie, in the summer, the top 4 I thought was nailed on. We've now come to January and it's not.
Nailed on?
Well, I thought Man United, one day Sam Ronaldo would have got it.
Oh, I thought you meant for us.
No, not for us. I'm talking about the other 3 teams: City, Chelsea, and Liverpool and Manchester United. But because of Man United's frailties, it's letting the likes of Tottenham, ourselves, Wolves, and West Ham. Ultimately, Tottenham had a little look at the situation, a little bit like us, and they've just turned around and said, you know what, Nuno's not going to get us top 4. We ain't going to be able to get the players in, but so we'll go for the classy manager. They've done that. West Ham, are probably punching, if I'll be honest, at this moment in time. Wolves have changed their manager. Arsenal have not got the players and not got in the manager. Now, I've got a feeling if Arsenal were to play their 11 every single game, they've got a chance of still doing it because they've got some good players, we've got nice rest and all that. But ultimately, you're going to have games like Burnley when things are not going quite right. That's when the manager earns his money. That's when he does it. As you said earlier on, why are you playing Ben White as a right back and so when you know that they're playing banks of 4 and 5 at the back? Be inventive, change something around. How many times did Arsene Wenger finish the game with 4 or 5 strikers on the pitch and things like that, and you end up getting a goal in the last minute, Sometimes you lost it and you do your nut, but there was a thing of like, well, we're going to go for it.
Go out and win the game.
Go out and win the game. I've had fans. I've seen fans on Twitter on Facebook going, it was a good point against Burnley because we lost. Are
you mad?
Because Spurs lost.
No, it wasn't. That made it even worse.
I cannot get my head around people thinking mediocre. So basically giving him another excuse. I've heard people turn around and say...
It was like a loss to me.
At the beginning of the window.
That was like a loss.
Yeah, of course it was. People at the beginning of the window. Oh, we ain't signed no one yet. When we needed to sign players at the beginning of this window because we had the players away, we had the cup competitions. It's only 1 week. Be patient, be patient.
It's been proven now, isn't it?
Bang, bang. We're out of the cups and we're still not signed no one.
If you needed evidence, sometimes people will have arguments, people have discussions amongst each other, and you'll hear the 2 points of view, right? But if you ever needed evidence to say that it was an error not to sign somebody at the start of the window or not to at least let go players like Ainsley and that, the evidence is there. We didn't win a game in January.
Yeah.
We didn't. We knew AFCON was coming, that we were going to be losing players. We knew that Aubameyang's been bombed out, especially the manager know. He knows he's not going to play him. We have not won a game in January. We have not scored. We scored 1 goal in January. 1. None of those are strikers that scored those goals, by the way. I was just looking at the records. Eddie Nketiah, how many goals he scored this season?
What, in the league?
Yeah.
1?
None. Lacazette, how many goals has he scored this season in the league?
3, 4?
3.
3.
So all the evidence is there, right? But we said no, right? And we went with what we went with. And we've really gotten what we've deserved.
Also in that, we've got to say, a game called off because of lack of players.
Thank God.
Yeah, but
the game against Tottenham.
but if you think about it, the lack of players, what does that tell you?
Yeah. Eddie Nketiah, no goals. To be fair to him, he's only had 4 games he started, right? So, but he's not scored a goal in it. And,
How many goals has Pepe got?
Pepe? Well, I don't know how many league starts he's had. Let me have a look. I'll have a search on that. I think because most of the goals that Pepe scored have been...
So it's 4 starts, no goals. And he's had more game time in the last month. Since Eddie turned around and said, I'm not signing my contract, he's had more game time than Pepe. Let's get that right. Yeah, and we've had more minutes.
Pepe, no goals either.
I'll change that. Cuts.
No goals either. But he's played 9 games, but he's not a centre forward.
No, he ain't. No.
But he's played 9 games. No goals. I think in the Eddie one, he ain't even had a shot on target.
So what is this telling us then about our goal score? Aubameyang's not scored that many goals. There's something not right, isn't it?
Let's get Aubameyang. He's the one that's been bombed out. Let's see what he's done. So Aubameyang. These stats are horrendous, man. He's only played 14 games.
14 starts, 4 goals?
14 starts.
How many goals?
4 goals. So he still scored more than Lacazette.
So when you're saying you got Lacazette... He
scored more than Lacazette and Eddie combined.
Lacazette, Aubameyang and Eddie are our 3 sort of pivotal strikers, yeah?
Yeah.
Not one of them has got over 5 goals.
No.
In a Premier League season.
No.
And come January, you're turning round, as a manager, Mikel Arteta is turning round and saying it's very hard to improve on that. My God, we've got problems if you cannot improve on that. It's a serious worry now when a manager's turning around to you and saying, I'm finding it difficult to improve on it. That is shocking.
I know you're in shock.
I'm in shock.
I can see in that. But yeah, no goals. No goals from Pepe either.
He's finding it very hard to improve on it.
It's shocking. It's shocking. And there's our problem. No firepower.
And you know, we've got ourselves into, because of that, a position where we could actually take, if we did have a striker that could bang in, say, 10 goals to the end of the season, could actually push his way to the top 4.
We're relying on guys like Smith Rowe, who's scored 8 goals in the league, but obviously he's been, you can see he's been carrying an injury. So we need a striker now. We need a striker before the end of this window. We either need a striker, a direct striker, or we need somebody who can, you know, like, listen, you know Liverpool, yeah? This is a crazy thing. They don't have an out-and-out striker, do they?
No, they don't.
Salah, Mane, Jota, none of them are out-and-out striker. But the top goal scorer in the league is Salah. The second highest goal scorer in the league is?
Mane?
Jota.
Is it Jota?
Mane's probably close behind.
Well, you know what I mean? So sometimes, if you can't get that out-and-out striker, you've got to come up with a solution. Manchester City have no striker. The top goal scorer for Manchester City is? Sterling?
Riyad Mahrez.
Mahrez. Not that. Yeah, but see, the thing is, that when I look at that, we've got Martin. You know, someone turned around to me the other day and said, "Oh, what?" I think someone said, "Oh, why is he not playing Pepe?" You know what I mean? Like, because you can't leave out Martinelli at the moment, or you can't leave out Saka. They're our best 2 players, but they're young.
Yeah,
they're not in their prime yet. You know what I mean? They're physically not. Mind you, I've got to say this: the bashings and beatings that Saka gets, I've got a lot of admiration for him. But they are not physically. They're physically not men as far as professional football is concerned yet. They're still growing. They're still learning. They're not going to get that till another 2 or 3 years. But by this time, with the way Mikel's going, they'd be either sold or they'd be running to the ground. You know what I mean? Like, you've got to be realistic about this now. Like, you know, the recruitment, for whatever way you're looking at it. When you go on about a process and a vision, what vision have you got? What is the process about our forwards? 2 of them are going at the end of the season. One you've fallen out with, who's only got another year after this anyway. What is the vision? What is the process for us going forward as far as the forward's concerned?
I don't get it.
I don't get it.
I mean, looking at the top goal scorers in the league, as I said, Salah, top goal scorer with 10. Jota, 10. Sorry, Salah 16, Jota 10. Jamie Vardy on 9. Antonio on 8, Manuel Dennis on 8, and actually,
not a lot of
going down to it, Smith Rowe's got 8 as well.
Not a lot of goals, normally be on a lot higher than that. Harry Kane normally on about 10, 15.
Yeah, he's been very poor this season as well, hasn't he?
Is this because teams now are going away from this centre forward thing?
Yeah, there's a lot of that because there's no sort of, when we talk about, again, out and out strikers on that list.
There, is there?
You can only really say 2, which is Vardy and Mikel Antonio. Because even Emmanuel Dennis is not an out-and-out striker. That's what I'm saying. Maybe a solution, you know. But one difference that stands out is that look at Liverpool, right? As I said, no out-and-out striker, but yet still Salah 16, Jota 10 goals, and Mane 8.
Yeah,
so all 3 of that front line have been banging them in, right? If you look at Manchester United, what we say, they're big rivals for getting into that top 4, right? And I heard my brother saying the other day that, I think it was Jordan, Jarrett Bryan said on one, I think it was on the Forever Arsenal podcast, what you do, he must have said that Manchester United have the ability to score their way to the top 4. They're not a good team, but they're right? And you can see the evidence of it here because in those top goal scorers, they've got Bruno Fernandes, who scored 7. They've got Cristiano Ronaldo, who scored 8. Right, so there's goal scorers there.
Do you think?
But we're in that line, in that top, 17 of goal scorers, only Emile Smith Rowe, who's now carrying an injury. So basically, there's no goals in the Arsenal team.
There could be the thing that teams have improved. You know what I mean? Even the bottom teams are a lot tougher to play against now. I know as poor as Arsenal were, but that was bottom of the league Burnley. I was impressed by the way they defended and
yeah, they defended
and all
well,
that.
but you know what? In the game, right, there were 2 chances that came in those tight games.
Yeah, you need to take
everyone
that
gets
chance.
those games. Even last week, Manchester City. Slightly in Arsenal's defence last week, when I analysed some of the games last week, there were a lot of tight. You know, Man City, you'd have thought we went and smashed Southampton. It was a draw.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think there was a couple of other games. What was the other game I was looking at? And I was thinking, wow, I thought that would have been a bigger margin than that was a draw. You know, there was a lot of tight games, but right, we just lacked that firepower. We lacked that firepower because in that game against Burnley, there were 2 chances. I think both of them were Lacazette's. There was one when he dribbled through. He done brilliantly.
Yeah.
He dribbled through, and then he threw on goal, and he gets his shot completely off target. And then there was the other chance when Smith Rowe did brilliantly, cut it back to him. And
It's an open goal. You know, you can't blame the manager for misses like that.
He hits it wide. But no, you can, in a way, because we know that he's not clinical enough. So that's where you need. And to be fair, it's difficult because with the striker thing, they have been trying to address that by getting a really top quality striker. But what's plan B?
Well, I don't know. Like, we're going to have to wait and see on this. But I can tell you what, if there ain't a plan B, what I'd say. Do you know what? Part of me, I'm going to say this now. Part of me just says, let's not buy no one, and at least you're not going to you're not going to be killed by the hope. You know that you're not going to get top 4. And because that's what's killing you. You get these performances like against Man City, and like after that game against Man City, I'm thinking, George, if we could just add a striker to that, what a team we've got. But it just doesn't happen, and I think we're defensively a lot better.
This is the time when Arsenal need to go and get a striker before that transfer window closes.
Yeah.
To me, no, part of me, nothing. Right? We've got to get that because if we're going to have any chance of getting into the top 4, we need some goals. The evidence has been laid bare today. Yeah?
Yeah.
Laid bare, right? We do not score enough goals.
From attacking
right? And our best goal scorer, whether we think he's done any good or not, has been bombed out of the team. And now we're left with 2 guys that historically don't score goals. We've seen Eddie Nketiah miss 2 absolute sitters in games that could have won us those games. We've seen Lacazette miss easy chances as well. We need a striker if we're to get into the top 4 because the stakes are high. The stakes are high, Lee. So to me, it reminds me of all those years ago when it used to be Arsene Wenger, where we'd be saying we need a defender.
Yeah.
Let's get a centre back in. Or we used to say a lot of times, you know what? Me and you, for instance, we leave the game and you'd nudge me and go, Robbie, you know what? We're looking all right, but you know what we need? Defensive midfielder.
Yeah.
Someone who sits in front of the back 4. We could all see it.
Yeah.
The evidence was there. We didn't get it.
And
then we'd have 3-4 games where we fall apart in that area and we miss out on
and he
top
lost
4.
His job.
We miss out on
this is what's going to happen
competition.
With Arsenal now.
We have to get a striker in. I know, we've been looking for midfielders as well. I think even the time for try and get a midfielder in for this season might have passed. It might have. I understand why, because obviously we were going for Arthur, who's that midfielder who's at Juventus, and Juventus want an 18-month loan, and apparently Eddie was going to do it, and it was vetoed by the Cronkies. And I agree with the Cronkies on this one because why do you want to take a player on an 18-month loan? You may as well wait the next 4 months, get to the summer, and go and get the proper midfielder like a Tielemans or someone that you want.
They're looking to go.
But if they would have got the midfielder at the start of the window,
that would
I would have understood it because we needed a midfielder.
We don't need us. We don't.
But you know what? Now, by the time we play again, which is on the 10th of February or 11th of February, right? Partey's back, Xhaka's back, El Neni could be back. If you're bringing that Arthur in, where's he going to play? We've only got 1 game a week.
Yeah. So,
but one thing that we definitely need, number 1 priority, do all the money on it. Do all the money on it this January is we need a striker. And if we don't get a striker, in my opinion, I've said this before, people have a go at me. They say, Robbie, it's because you like Aubameyang and stuff. I do like Aubameyang as a person, but it's got nothing to do with it. If his discipline stinks, if he's not the guy if he's, I don't know what's going on in that dressing room. And if he's so disruptive that you have to get rid of him, then fair enough. But then you've got to either get a striker in, or if you don't get a striker in, somebody's got to sit down with Aubameyang and say, right, listen, what can we do? Let's work this out. Give me something from now till the end of the season. We've kept you out of the team, but now you're back in. You got a show. Right, and then so hopefully he can come in and get, because if we don't get that, where the goal's going to come from?
Well,
where?
I don't know. I don't think they're going to come from him neither. If I'll be honest, I think that his time's done. You know what I mean? Like,
well, if it's fair enough, if he's done, bring in a striker.
Yeah, exactly. But
I don't think we can afford to let this window close, and we don't bring in a striker.
The trouble with Mikel, and this is my big thing about him now, he might be going to Tillemans at the end of next season, but what happens if they don't get him with the Vlahovic one? What happens then? The other side of it is, I think he's put his reputation on the line a little bit for Xhaka. Right, in the summer, because there was obviously he was going to go and then he didn't for whatever reason. He chose to keep him, give him a new contract, put a lot of backed him up there, and he's backed up with Eddie as well. And I'm afraid that those two guys at this moment in time have let him down. They've let him down. Eddie because he's not quite good enough. That's not his fault. Xhaka through his discipline and everything like that. But ultimately, this now comes down to the management team of Edu and Mikel Arteta. If they don't get it right in this January transfer window, and we now miss out on fourth, and I don't care when people go, oh yeah, 6. I've heard people turn around and go, 6 is progress. You know what I mean?
Well, it is.
Yeah, but it is.
Last 2 seasons we finished 8th.
It is, yeah. But last season, we was into the semi-finals of the Europa League, so we was concentrating on the Europa League, right? So if we get
that
6,
well.
yeah, we did, yeah, but we did go for it, right? Well, I look at Emery when we was going to the Champions, he forsaked a few games which cost him because we got to the final of the Europa League. This time around, we have not got that. So when people turn around and go, 6 and it's not, Robbie. You don't. It is not, because we've not got the distractions
I get you.
of what we're.
Because in a way, it might be an improvement on the league positions, but we've been horrendous in everything else.
When we have not been in Europe. We've not had Europe to contend with, where Emery has in the past and Mikel last season. So you're trying to make excuses that are not there. And if you come behind, I will accept Arsenal coming 5th behind Man United because of the money they spent. I will not accept it from Wolves, from West Ham, or from Tottenham, and they come above us, and that is progress, because it's not. You know what I mean? And don't try and wishy-washy it by saying, we come 7th last season. So no. Look at the facts and look at everything going for it. Stop making excuses. The end of it now, the buck stops now at these two, Mikel and Edu, because they've not done their jobs in January. Let's get it right.
Yeah, you know what? And the thing is about it, I praised Mikel Arteta and Edu for the summer business they did, because they brought in, I'd say on the whole, the players that they brought in, they've done well. They've done well. You know what I mean? There've been some really good signings in there.
I'm not as convinced about that. No, I think that.
What do you mean?
Well, I think Ramsdale's been great. I think but I'm going to give him the tick.
Ramsdale,
Tomiyasu, Ben White. I'm still not convinced about.
He's done well.
He's done well, but there's too many inconsistencies.
Yeah, but hold on,
£50 million.
Just come.
Well,
I mean, it takes you a little while to,
Well, it hasn't taken Tomiyasu that long, has it? It hasn't taken.
But he ain't been bad, has he?
No.
None of those signings.
None of them have been bad. I'm not saying it, but you're saying a 6. Tavares, you know what I mean? Got took after 20 minutes. That's another thing.
Yeah,
by the
but
way.
apart from that, he's done well.
Kieran Tierney had an absolute shocker on against Burnley. I didn't see him being dragged off after 20 minutes, but that's another thing. Tomiyasu, yeah.
Tavares has done all right.
Tavares,
all right,
potentially he's done all right. I think, as it happens, he's done well, because when he replaced Tierney, we didn't miss him, so he's done okay. I think
Sambi Lokonga.
I think it's going to be a good player, but at this moment, he's not getting us top 4, is he?
No, he's not. But he's done well. So all the signings that we bought in have been okay. They've been good.
Right? They've been okay.
They've been poor. There's not
been one poor, but not one of them.
And normally, when you make that amount of signings, you do get a couple that you
No,
think.
I agree. I think like Tommy Asu and
so I praised them.
Ramsdale been fantastic.
I praised them for the summer. For this winter, for January so far, obviously I wait to see what they do. I praised them for trying to get Dusan Vlahovic. However, they didn't get him. Right? And if we don't get a striker in, they've been looking for a striker and a midfielder. But if we don't get a striker in, I'll look back at the business and say, we needed a striker to get into the top 4. And also, we threw away January by not bringing in a midfielder and letting a guy that can play midfield and right back, a versatile player, go out on loan.
Yeah, it's costly.
Remember, we didn't sell. It would have been different with the Ainsley Maitland-Niles thing. Say, Roma came in and said, we give you 40 million for him. You'd be like, okay, yeah. But we didn't do that. We sent him out on loan.
I could accept.
And I'm for the life of me, and that has cost us. Look at January, no wins.
Cost us as a club,
wins.
as fans. It hasn't the club. The club are making money. Unbelievably, they're making money in January because they've cut the wages down by and they say that Well,
if we don't get in the
January
top 4,
transfer window is a saving window for us. You know what I mean? We're like a bank, aren't we?
Bank. Let me tell you something. If we don't get a striker, I'm very worried about any prospect of getting into the top 4.
We ain't getting the top 4. Simple as that. Without that striker, we ain't getting there.
All right. What do you guys think? I'd love to hear from you guys out there. If we don't get a striker, do you think that's it? We won't get the top 4. Do you think a midfield player is more important than a striker? And also, I want some recommendations on strikers. Who should we get? There's been Victor Osimhen. There's been Jonathan David suggested. Alexander Isak.
Nicholas Bentner. He's free.
Shit.
He's free available.
Who should Arsenal get? We need a striker, right? If we're to have any chance of getting into the top 4, we've shown you the evidence. We don't score enough goals. And if our strikers are not scoring goals, we're not going to get that top 4. So who do you think? Let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to check out Who's Knows Wins. There's a link in the description to download the app. You can take on me, you can take on Lee as we go head to head. Well, take me on. If you want a bit of competition, take me on.
And also, it's a good game now, this week, because, and for the next few weekends, because Arsenal ain't got a game.
Yeah.
So you can get into this.
It's something for us to do.
It's something for us to do, at the weekends. So instead of going shopping, get on it. Get on it. Links in the description. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you next week.